Welcome to today's Tuck Shop. I'm not joined by Jack Pierce. Jack Pierce is on holiday, so I had a choice of my co-hosts from work, either Hayley or Akish. Sorry, Akish. It's Tuesday. I mean, this is probably going out on Thursday, but the week started well.
I was a little bit hungover, not going to lie, at the beginning of the week, but I'm fine now. I've recovered.
You were hungover yesterday
Yeah?
from Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Apparently
you
they
can't
get
stay
worse.
out longer than 10, and you can only meet up with 6 people. I mean, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah, I think I just mixed far too much. I think that was the issue. Martinis, gin and wine.
Nice. Very nice combination. By the way, quick shout out to the lovely AKFC. That's upside down. There we go. AKFC sending a scarf through the post to all of their members. I've got to give a bit of a shout out and a bit of love. If you're wondering who the hell I'm on about, listen to the podcast. It's the advert in the show. Anyway, Hayley, what story have you got for us?
Okay, so the story I've got is the app thought I caught COVID through the neighbour's floor. And it's basically about people who live in flats. It picks up Bluetooth, doesn't it? So they're basically saying that through his wall or his floor, it's 2 metres away and it picks it up, and he got told he had to self-isolate for 2 weeks, and he was like, I don't understand why. So,
Because they've been in close contact with someone who's tested positive.
through the wall. So it doesn't really make sense. I mean, what's your thoughts on downloading that app and getting that happen?
Right, well, we've spoken about this on the podcast. Obviously, I'm immunocompromised because of my lovely health complaints.
Yes.
I'm on immunosuppressants, and therefore avoiding getting COVID is something I'd like to do. And I'm a big fan of the idea that the app is a good idea if it works properly, if they don't mislay data or put it on an Excel spreadsheet and then don't do a whole load of tests.
Yeah.
And if they notify people correctly. And obviously this falls into that category of alarming people through stuff that probably could have been foreseen, right?
Yeah, that's extremely worrying. If you are like shielding and then you find out that you got to self-isolate, and you're thinking, what? I've not, and then you're just going to be questioning yourself and then worrying, oh my God, have I got it?
So I funnily enough, I got a text from the app this morning, or a notification rather, from the app this morning. I'm just pulling up my my Twitter whilst we speak because I totally forgot. I want to get this wording right. The exact wording that the app notification sent me was, someone you were near reported having COVID-19. Exposure date, duration and signal strength have been saved. That was it. That was it. Someone you were near reported having COVID-19. Not where, not when, not any instruction about what I should do. Just, hey, someone you were near had it.
No, this is too scaremongery, this thing, isn't it? It is.
I am totally on the side of we need the app. Like, it is important. It's an important way of being able to track and trace and contain the virus. But an app done badly is perhaps far more damaging than no app at all.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And this is clearly what's happening, because you can catch it through walls now, but you can't catch it through a mask.
You can catch it through walls, but definitely still go to the cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind. That's straying away from technology more into the realms of government policy. So maybe we'll leave that there. But that is a bit worrying. They need to think about Bluetooth and connections, and because let's face it, people living in London live in very close proximity to each other.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Right. I've got one that's this is kind of consumer tech. I don't know. Hayley, you're a user of Instagram. I know that you are, because I was looking at your holiday photos just a couple of weeks ago. They're very nice. Anyone who's going away right now, it's just extreme jealousy whenever I see their posts. But Instagram is 10 years old. And this article, happy birthday. This article is by John Porter. It's in The Verge. And basically, Instagram is making old stories easier to find. And they've also brought in some anti-bullying features. So this might come as a surprise to users. Stories, you kind of think that they're there for 24 hours and then disappear. Of course they don't. They sit on a server. But you can now access all of your stories up to 3 years ago. And it also puts them on a little calendar for you so you can have a look at them. And it tells you as well where they were posted on little maps so you can see where they were uploaded or where they were posted from. And if you want, you can repost some of those old stories with your followers. interesting feature. Did you know that they kept stories for 3 years?
I didn't. I know that you could go onto like the archive and see, but this is all to do with anti-bullying, isn't it?
Well, the stories feature separate from the anti-bullying thing. The anti-bullying thing is a different thing. What they've basically brought in is kind of automatic, So new features will automatically hide potentially abusive comments whilst discouraging other users from posting them in the first place. You can still see those comments. You can click on a tab that's hidden comments, but Instagram will automatically hide comments that have been flagged previously and that are similar.
Well, it's pretty positive. I think that like Instagram, Facebook, and everything like that at the moment's been getting quite a lot of bad press since that Social Dilemma on Netflix. Have you seen that?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. You have seen it?
I've seen it, and it's really not showing them in the best light. So
Right.
I think that this is like a positive bit of news that they're sharing. That's what it looks like.
I mean, it's the thing,
Talk
isn't it?
about
Like the podcast that we released on Tuesday this week was with Global Web Index, and in that they were talking about the fact that Gen Z and millennials, their online habits haven't really changed during the course of the pandemic. The group that has changed massively is baby boomers and Gen X, so older people beginning to embrace technology because, of course, they've been stuck at home, they've had to do their shopping online, they've had to communicate to their families. So there's been this massive shift in importance away from the younger generations towards the older generations who've not really embraced technology and now suddenly all over it. And from a consumer point of view, actually, they've got more spending power anyway.
Yeah, true.
Because what they've also said is that those users tend to scroll through their feeds less, and they do spend more time comments and in conversation and so on. So I suppose they've got to make a concerted effort as well to embrace some of that audience and maybe some of their desires or wants, perhaps. Whether or not that means that Gen Z will immediately ditch it and go for something different. But then old people are on TikTok. I shouldn't say old people. That sounds very disparaging.
Yeah. Are you on TikTok? Oh yeah, you are.
Are you calling me old?
No, I just remember you saying something about being on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok. I just can't see myself dancing on TikTok.
You don't have to dance. There's a lot of comedy on TikTok.
Dance. Oh, I just said dance like you. Dance.
It's a proper way to say it. You don't have to dance. I can't dance. I'm not going to dance. It would just be like it'd be like dad dancing. To your point that I'm old.
True.
But
I'm not saying that at all.
you said old people are on TikTok. You're like, oh, are you on TikTok?
I
Very
said, are
pointedly.
you on TikTok? Because
Yeah.
I'm not.
I think it's an interesting move from Instagram. I think it's interesting that maybe a lot of users will be surprised that they've got 3-year-old stories, but it'd be quite fun to go back and have a look at them. But yeah, the anti-bullying features are a really positive step.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that that's where social media gets such a bad name. And even I'm relatively young, I would say. And I just sometimes I think Instagram and Facebook is the devil because it's like people, especially for the younger generation anyway, I think that they're aspiring to be like all these faces on there, and unfortunately it's not real. And then, like you say, I was watching that Social Dilemma, and this is what I'm saying it's negative, is the fact they said that anxiety, depression, everything like that has shot up since it became so huge. And then even the people that work there are calling it a bit unethical. So I was like, oh, this is not great. So this is a good positive move for Instagram. I think it's going to get better press now. And it's a step in the right direction.
Go check out Social Dilemma. That's what Haley's telling you. Right, well, look, thanks for taking the time to hopefully maybe share a coffee with us, and we'll be back next week.